What up, people? Welcome to another episode of Social Moment. So the rap beef, I did take them from MaaD Reacts, bringing it to Social Moment. Make we have a little discussion about this paradigm of English and Twi rap and which is better and all the issues surrounding it. Because maybe I say before I begin, I'll say shout outs to Kenny Boat, shout outs to PS, Otin Kofi, Richard Asabila, and Vids. Thank you all for subscribing. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button, hit on the bell, and click on all. I don't know if they are done or they are going to continue, but as we are waiting for it, let's talk about this one for a second. Do Ghanaians overrate English? Absolutely. See, Delay brought something on the timeline today. Will make me put this camera here and decide to make this video. So she asked on Twitter, name one country that measures a person's level of intelligence by how fluent they speak English. That would be Ghana. That would be us, and probably other countries I don't know about. But that's definitely us. There's this thing of, I don't know if inferiority complex is the word that we they do to ourselves. We they overrate English too much.
Magnificent! Magnificent! Magnificent!
I mean, don't get me wrong. The places where English go take you, Twi cannot enter there. Ga cannot enter there. Aigwe cannot enter there. So English has its advantages. I mean, it's worldwide. It's a super continental. Like almost everybody they speak it. Like it's a unifier. It makes us go to places like social media, Twitter, and communicate with people of different continents, different countries, and be able to understand each other. So I don't go underplay that. But you don't need to be a soothsayer to also know the context this tweet was made in, and that is the context of this English rap versus Twi rap thing, which her perceived boyfriend Amerado is being subbed left, right, and center by people on Twitter and making some sort of agenda and make that he the rich LJ's level sake of he speak Twi in his rap, which doesn't even make sense to me because both people they do the Martin, both of them understand each other, both speak English, both understand Twi. So if one choose to do it in Twi, it doesn't matter because the person with the bars or the punches are for he understands the language that is being spoken to him, and that's what should matter. But now here's the case where people are over exaggerating, if I should say, and making LJ's blinds seem like something extraordinary because there's some rubbish lines in his bars where like people didn't even notice because it's in English or people are fawning over. Like there's a line that goes along the line of vegetarian and go see green pastures, which rhymes because vegetarian green pastures, it rhymes. But in what context? Because if just using one word to rhyme with another word, then you can literally use any other word to rhyme with any other word. So long as it rhymes and it doesn't make sense, you can literally use any word to rhyme with any other word. Well, maybe not orange.
The word orange doesn't rhyme with anything, and that kind of pisses me off because I can think of a lot of things that rhyme with orange.
What rhymes with orange?
If you're taking the word at face value and you just say orange, nothing is going to rhyme with it exactly. If you enunciate it and you make it like more than one syllable, orange, you could say like, I put my orange 4-inch door hinge in storage and ate porridge with joy.
But here's the context of two rappers beefing, and I stand to be corrected, but as far as I know, Amerado be vegetarian? I don't think so, I don't know, but again, I stand to be corrected. If he is a vegetarian, now, solid bar. If he's not, it's a rubbish line. And somebody come to Twitter, I don't know if it's under Delay's comments or where I saw it, but the person was like fawning over this line and saying it's their favorite.
Beautiful.
Like, that is a big L line right there. It doesn't make sense in the context it is done. And don't even get me started about this line in the song.
From a dungeon, don't make it tribalistic and talk about where I come from. Like playing with your dick, I can joke with where you come from. And when you take this L, I hope you can pronounce it well. Done.
Don't make it tribalistic and talk about where I come from. Like playing with your dick, I can make you come. Wait, huh?
From a dungeon, don't make it tribalistic and talk about where I come from. Like playing with your dick, I can joke with where you come from.
Okay, but I don't think he thought this one through. You can play with where he comes from. Like you go give him hand job or waiting, my bro. You go, nah, this wasn't the best. No.
Mama.
You see? So imagine if that line, I mean, the thing about puns is they can be double-edged, right? Puns can be double-edged. And the amount of self-sabotaging and the amount of LJ took with this line is far more than the benefits. I mean, you know, I guess it was a wordplay on where he comes from, Kumasi, and if he can pronounce the L well. You know, Asantis have this thing with L and R mispronunciations. But that part about I can play with where you come from. Like your D, I can play with where you come from. A street rapper. Well, I presume a street rapper telling another street rapper in a bar, say I can play with where you come from. Imagine if this line was in key. This is a classic example of the things, you know, like you get to say in English where they get away with people, they fawn over it, over exaggerate, like it's some super genius things be where if person was said in here, if was said in here, the agenda and the hashtag and the spaces and the mockery and the gay jokes on Twitter for days, like how you go even free say this in here? Just so awkward to middle. See? Like people would tell him it's rubbish line and like mock him for days. And they will be right because it's rubbish and it's a big and a self-sabotaging line. Like yo, if I was Amerado and I was coming back as LJ after this line, like he can mock him with that line forever. You say you go play with where I come from. I'm not a rapper, so you know I'm trying my best.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
You say you go play with where I come from. Thanks for the offer, but I no be gay. See? This could be a solid reply from him on that line because that line was suspect as fuck. It was sus AF. And if it was said in key, people go rubbish and bad because it's in English. People did not even notice. So I guess we can call this English privilege. I'm not saying LJ know the rap, I mean, just from the video I quoted this one from, which is from my previous upload, Lyrical Josephine and Amerado. In the end of that video, say if you not watch, I will leave a link in the description if you want to watch in the end itself. I said for bar, Lyrical Joe did it for me because the guy delivers. But there's this English privilege here where the line he talk on some be rubbish. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Amerado know the talk rubbish line. He they do to the rhymes for just rhyming sakes. But the difference between Amerado own and LJ's own is nobody is fawning over Amerado's own and acting like it's some super intelligent something be. But people they do that for LJ just for the sake that it's in English, and that's why they bore me and I know they understand. For example, look at some rubbish somebody on Facebook talk. So one Kofi Boateng on Facebook said, an outsider would ask who is the best rapper in Ghana, a giant when it comes to rap music in Africa, and the name will be Amerado. It doesn't even suit it. The person would be like, okay, let me access his works, and all he would find be some local incrassy kid. Look at this Jimmy and disrespect to your own culture. And it continues how he go fit to understand Amerado and accept that he's good. Or you people won't make we lose our status as one of the rap giants in Africa. P.S. Someone will say Sack did it with Key. Yes, he did it, but he had the fast flow to catch the attention of outsiders, even when they didn't understand his language. Tell me what will make an outsider stay glued to Amerado's rap. The part about Sack and why outsiders liked him doesn't even make sense because of the fast pace and all that. For me, if I am to say what made Sack, even though he did do mostly true rap, but made him like be relevant even outside there, is because the guy has some star power to him, and also he picked and chose certain collaborations that even though he's speaking his mother tongue, helped him to accelerate out there. Now, what you're not gonna see a Nigerian do is make this damn bass argument. What you're not gonna see a Nigerian do is disrespect Fino, or rap mostly, or any Nigerian where they rap mostly in their mother tongue with this rubbish sort of arguments. And I made this point on Twitter, say, imagine somebody where to go to like South Korea or something and sing K-pop musician and most of the songs are in Korean and saying he go ball because the people are doing the music in their language. Like, what sort of self-disrespect is even this point making? You feel me? What sort of self-disrespect, self-sabotaging, inferiority complex argument could I be this? You know, it makes sense. And coming back to the whole delay argument about intelligence, measuring intelligence with language or English, you know. People under the comments, for example, one Ebenezer NK Lai says, have you taken an IQ test before? Seriously, I'm not sure you've, because if you won't be saying this. Almost every subject is taught in English. The doctor, the engineer, and all learned in English. Even maths with numbers is taught in English. Delete this. It's taught in English, all right? Why? Because we were colonized by the British. You go Burkina Faso, they're not going to teach engineering, the doctorate, and the maths in English. They are teaching it in French. So we be this rubbish argument. It's like English has become that. English has become, well, in this context, become that hot chick, should I say, but with empty brains. Again, English could take you where Chino could take you, but in this context where people do over exaggerate is what I'm talking about. It be like that hot chick, but with empty brains where everybody they fawn over. In this contest where people they make this argument, it be like that's what it looks like, cause it doesn't even make sense. And somebody replied him appropriately, saying from Arts Maxi says now one something says in English speaking countries are that the Chinese study in Chinese, they learn English so they can communicate with the rest of the world. English is important in an English speaking country. The Chinese they do maths in Chinese and all of that. This be really common sense talking about IQ and this and that and taking such a big on the timeline. Like, yo, it is not that hard to comprehend. They speak English, they do 1 or 10 everything with English because we got colonized by the British and it has become sort of our official language because, again, even if some governments come into power and decide to make one of our languages our official language, there will be say Chi or Ga or Ewe. There will be outcry from the other tribes. Why isn't our language? Why isn't this? Why isn't that? And the classic example of the self-sabotaging I'm talking about. The overrating of English is what I'm talking about. Example is what I'm talking about. You know, they make sense. From Ebenezer, there NK Lai again says English. England, part 2 of his 3 says, have you read the King James Bible? Why do you think it's still the most respected and powerful type of Bible beside numerous translated versions? Apparently, this is news to me. People, they respect the Bible because it's in English. I thought because the claim is spiritually divine or it's from God. I didn't know it's because of the language it's in. But apparently, people, they respect Bible because the King James Bible, because it's in English. Who knew? I did not. At a morning Nam says, English as a yardstick for intelligence. This was a reply to someone. No wonder Nanado see Ghanaians as jokers. I mean, facts. They come stand in front of us, they do his I wish we should contumbe and they clap for him, the same with Baumia, as if they said something, but they know the show workings. Them know the show workings. So let me know your thoughts about this whole wahala. Do you think, people they over exaggerate this whole thing agenda? Lyrical Joe is genius. Again, if you watch that video, I say bar for bar, he won for me. But do Ghanaians have a tendency to make everything in English seem too over glorified on a certain pedestal? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe. Catch you later.